on YouTube. It's the old soldier coming at you on this wet Wednesday morning here in the Carolinas. It's been raining off and on all night. And I got an email from the college with a weather advisory. This tropical depression that's off the shore is creating this weather front we're getting with the rains and things. Between now and Saturday, we're predicted to get about 3 inches here in my locality or in this region. So yeah, shore power couldn't have got here in a timely enough manner. Yesterday they showed up, Duke Power did, got us hooked up, so didn't have to run out in the middle of the night and change generators over or top a generator off, which when I got up this morning to get ready for work, didn't have to rush outside to shut one down and turn one on, which was nice. All I had to do is sit in the camper and drink some coffee, and you know, life is good. But anyway, HRM Weapons Machinist suggested that I do a review of the generators, and I thought, well, that's a pretty good idea. So this weekend, if it's not raining too bad, if it is, I'll just move them under my tarp. I'm going to do a review of the two primary generators I used. One was a Champion, the other one was a Predator from Harbor Freight. Talk about the pros and the cons and how well they both worked. Mind you, when this whole thing started, when we had the first camper, you know, I had my little other Champion that was good, but it only had a 25 amp circuit breaker. And most RVs, or at least travel trailers, at a minimum have a 30 amp service. So the generator power most stuff in that camper, but then if I had to use my water from my well, I'd have to turn off the air conditioner. For what we wound up doing, we started filling up the fresh water tank on that one and using the water pump inside the camper. And was it optimal? No. Did it serve its purpose? Yeah. Sorry I keep readjusting, but yeah, like I said, so we ordered the Predator, which didn't come in when it was supposed to, so I wound up having to go buy a Champion, another Champion that was kind of more specifically designed for RVs, which is really fortuitous that I had two, because in all honesty, you don't want to run the same generator day after day, 24 hours, 24/7, just because the amount of oil that'll burn through that kind of thing. You just basically, you'd wear it out faster than you'd want. So getting the second generator that had a 30 amp breaker just made sense in retrospect. So then we would just alternate generators. So, but yeah, I'll do that review on Saturday, and we'll just have a good old time with it. But anyway, appreciate everybody's thoughts and well wishes on my daughter's wedding. Really appreciate that. It means all the world to me, folks, as she begins her bold new adventure in life. Not only now that she's a married woman, she's also going to be a mother. And me and Mrs. Old Soldier are ecstatic about that. I have a little old soldier. But anyway. But yeah, talked about some things coming up, folks. Yesterday about stocking up on things, this kind of stuff. Wayne at Ungrateful Peasant mentioned a solar light system, and he's spot on. If you go on Amazon, you can Google it, solar light systems, they are out there. You can get them, I think there's some that are for little as $100. Or you can just build one and use an inverter to plug in regular lights as well. I have to order some new batteries for mine and rebuild mine. That was the other thing I found out when I started tearing things out of the house. My other one, the charge controller, got fried, and one of the batteries literally blew out the side. The only thing I can think of is that because the charge controller was shot, there was nothing controlling the flow into the battery, which is what the charge controller does. Primarily, I'm going to rebuild it, run my water pump off of, but it's going to have enough capacity with a 3,000 watt pure sine wave inverter to run other applications if I need to. I can run a light, set of lights off of it, that kind of thing. I just got to get some batteries ahead of time. Everything else going on. But I don't know. Eventually, I might look into wiring my RV for solar. Just to have an alternate means of powering it. So who knows where we'll go with that. But yeah, he made a good point of that. Solar light system or solar power generator, where you can do not only lights, but you can keep cell phones, laptops, other items you need recharged. And why I agree with this and what he's saying is because I want y'all to think about this, folks. In the event something happens, say a natural disaster, sometimes you can't always get out to the gas station to get gas to run generators, okay? You can stock up, add some fuel additive, especially if it's going to be more than a few months, but you can stock up to an extent, but at some point in time when you start going through it and using it, you'll burn through it. I know when Florence hit, we were out of power for 9 days. 9 days. Fortunately, for where we were at, we could get the portions of our area that had power restored quicker, and we were able to get gas about every other day to top off the generator we were running at the time. Some places around here weren't as fortunate, okay? Weren't as fortunate. So those are things you have to consider with the generator. Now I've had friends that had a backup generator, the gen rack built into their homes, and they had natural gas or propane running them. The drawback that you have there, again, if you run out of propane, at some point in time, you've got to be able to get propane or natural gas, either or. With the propane, if the trucks aren't running, you can't get refilled. So that's something you have to think about. Or if you're isolated, cut off. So that's why what Wayne is saying about the solar is so vital, because with it, the biggest thing is just having good components, well-serviced components, and good batteries. Okay. So if you decide to go down that road, remember this: with a portable solar power generator, even for the lights, you don't want to use a car battery. Let me say that again. You do not want to use a car battery. It's not that you can't. You can, but car batteries are not optimal for a solar power bank. They're not designed to go below a certain charge so many times before they're done. What you want to look for is deep cycle battery. A lot of your auto stores and sporting goods stores carry these marine RV batteries, which are deep cycle. You can use those. There are several websites out there you can look into that have the purpose-built solar deep cycle batteries. And again, the reason behind that is because, one, they hold their, I'm not sure about holding their charge longer, but they're designed to hold their level of power in a longer rate of time before they get below a certain charge, and then just, everything goes, you have to wait till they recharge. Okay. And the other thing you have to consider is the amount of amp hours your battery's going to have. Case in example, you can go to Harbor Freight and they carry a deep cycle little one. It's 12 volt, 35 amp hour. 35 amp hours is not going to last you a whole long time by itself. So you can wire several additional ones in parallel, okay, to increase your amp hours. So if you wired, say, 4 of those parallel, you would have 140 amp hours. The more amp hours you got, the more you can actually run at one time, or the longer it will last during night when you don't have any sunlight beaming down on the panels. And then the other thing is what size volt system you want. Mine is set for 24 volts. Okay, which means I have to take two 12 volt batteries and wire them in series. My amp hours stay the same. And with that too, you have to be cognizantly aware of your battery's amp hour capacity, because when you wire them in series, you want to make sure both batteries have the same amount of amp hours when you wire them in series. Normally I run with a 12 volt 100 amp hour minimum. Drawback to those batteries are about $180 a pop. So that's the biggest cost to it, is the batteries. But again, he made a very valid point with that. Something to look into, folks. And if you just want to experiment, Harbor Freight sells a kit. It's like $199, and then I think you get $35 for the battery. You can set up a little small portable with it, just, and I want to say that kit comes with the charge controller. Can't remember if it comes with an inverter or not. So outside the kit, you probably got to buy an inverter and a battery. And why you need the inverters, if you want to go with AC applications. If you don't, I think the charge controller comes with a 12 volt plug that you can plug 12 volt items in. So anyway, folks, that's all the really time I got for this morning. Y'all stay safe, take care of one another, watch your back. God bless, take care. Soldier out.